Hey, I'm Caroline and I'm doing this video about the story of how I became a freelance journalist, environmental journalist slash freelance wildlife photographer. And I hope that with this story, I encourage other people who wants to pursue the same career. Required, not required. Not required. In my opinion, I went to school for it and I don't feel that it's required. I think that there's benefits out of it, and for sure parts of the reason why I'm here right now is because of what I did in school. But I don't think it is a requirement or necessary thing to become a freelance journalist. I think that what you need and what the school does is to teach you the basic skills to do that. And I think that you can learn that on your own. I'm very lucky because I was in a full scholarship, so I didn't have to pay anything. I always knew that I wanted to be an environmental journalist and that I wanted to focus on wildlife and animals as much as possible. I did not want to do anything that it was not about the environment. I tried to take classes in science, take environmental classes at school, but I went to Seattle University, and for me to take classes in science or biology, you have to have a prerequisite, which means that you gotta be taking science or biology as a minor at least to be able to take the classes. It's not like you're like, oh, I want to take this class and that's it. No. So because I was denied to take classes in biology and science and animal behavior and all that, I decided to learn online, and I took all that information and put it in all the assignments that I was getting at school. And I mean every assignment that I get in school. I always put the environmental wildlife perspective into it in every assignment. And so it's funny because a lot of my classmates and a lot of my teachers kind of knew what they knew what to expect. I'm so proud of it because I'm so passionate about that. Like, I didn't want to do anything else that it wasn't about animals. And so I'm so glad that my teachers were so comprehensive and flexible with me, because a lot of times I think that my classmates were like, oh my gosh, she's gonna make it about animals. And I'm like, yes, you're right. At the end of 2020 is when I graduated. I was about to graduate. So we have, sorry, that was my dishwasher. At the end of your school years, you have a capstone, which is like your senior project. My capstone was about doing a wildlife YouTube series, and I didn't have a camera equipment. I mean, I was poor. I was under a scholarship, so thank God in my school have all this equipment that I needed, and I rented all this equipment to do this YouTube series about urban animals. And so I did that. A lot of people loved it. I really didn't look forward to do anything else because at that point I didn't have the right equipment to continue doing that. What happens is that the school had a after graduation program where they pair you up with a mentor. Since I want to be an environmental journalist, they pair me up with a freelance environmental journalist. This guy was a total scum, sorry to say that, but it was terrible. It was so bad that they have to kick this mentor out of the program. At the end, they pair me up with another person. That person helped me a lot. In fact, taught me everything that I needed to do. How to pitch, where to pitch, how to do it, how to communicate, everything. And it was so crazy because I was like, oh, this is what I went to school for, but no, I had to do it afterwards. But he was so helpful, and oh my God, Ted, thank you so much for like everything. And I finally pitched a story to him, and he liked it, and he said, let's do it. Let's publish it in Crosscut when he used to work there. After that publication, it was like a spiral of things. Like, it got a lot of attention. I got a lot of emails. They were trying to hire me to be a staff member in different other organizations. But the thing is that I did not want to do anything besides environmental issues. So a lot of these organizations were trying to hire me as a staff member, but more like a reporter. And many of those stories were nothing to do with the environment. And so I was not interested. I had to turn them down. And so, yeah, I'm very picky. I've just been very lucky, because honestly, you're not in this industry. I don't think that you get the chance or the opportunity to be this picky. But I mean, fortunately for me, it has worked out. I have a story in mind, and I go and pitch to different organizations, and whoever is interested, then I do the story. I mean, I wish there was people there who can teach you like everything that like the bad things about this industry. Like, it's so bad. I mean, I didn't know, for example, that there was many, I would say like 70% of the organizations that you work for as a freelancer, not as a staff member, but as a freelancer, when you're not in their payroll, the payroll can be like taking 3 months. And so here I was waiting for my payment for this article that was published 2 months ago. And they were like, no, maybe it's next month. And I'm like, what? Why? It makes no sense. Like, why would I want to be paid for an article like 3 months later? Like, I need the money now. This is my job now. Like, I have to pay bills. Like, yeah, no, that's how a payroll works. I mean, that's how many companies' payroll works, and it's true, and it's fucked up. And I have heard horrible cases where people get paid like a year later or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, okay. The other things that I realize is that a lot of editors are unethical. I mean, that you pitch a story and they steal this story idea from you and give it to one of their staff members. And they don't give you credit, they don't give you anything. In your head, you're thinking, well, maybe they came across with this idea on their own, but it's not true, because then you realize that they steal your sources. This happened to me, and I realized that it was my fault. Later on in the game, I have learned how to do a better pitch where I can give them like security of that I have a really reliable source, but I'm not gonna give away their name or where I got it from or anything like that. But again, these things, I think it should be taught in school, not in the field. On my free time, I want to be able to connect with other photographers, with other people that inspire me to do that. Try to connect with other journalists and learn and just review their story to see where, can I go with that or not. I have been lucky enough that people just contact me for, like, I was in a documentary once, I was on a podcast, I also was featured, my capstone was featured in Water Bear Network, which is like the Netflix for environmental videos, documentaries, and film. And I mean, it kind of unraveled a series of things. And from there on, I just have these gigs after gigs after gigs. Unfortunately, in 2022, I did not work at all in journalism because I had a family emergency and my dad passed away from cancer. And it was a terrible year for me. I was not, my right mind into work. This year, I have been realizing that a lot of the money are coming from social media. I want to focus on that in doing more reporting into like the social media format, maybe Reels, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and stuff like that, because I think you earn more revenue doing this than trying to go to a publication pitch and something. I mean, sometimes the pay is good, sometimes the payment is not good, and again, it takes a long time to get a payroll. I mean, oh my gosh, for you to be a journalist, you just have to have the right set of skills. Be disciplined, be consistent, be perseverance, things that I lack. You know, in my case with the animals and stuff, I did a course in animal behavior with an institution in the Netherlands. And I also did another certification in animal conservation with National Geographic, and I ended up contributing a little bit to one of their projects. You know, I met Birdie Gregory, which he's doing an amazing stuff now, but I mean, when I met him, he reminds me of Steve Irwin, because he was like all about animals and crazy and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I finally obviously own my own camera and my own lens and all that stuff. It took me a while. A lot of the things I learned after school and not during school. I think that school was beneficial for me in the sense of connecting with other colleagues, also a way for me to prove myself that I can do it, which I spent so much time into after school programs where they have to review my assignments in grammar and stuff, and that helped me a lot for free, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I learned so much from that. It worked out for me at the end, but it almost didn't, because if that mentor wouldn't do what he did, that would be the end of the story. I would have never been here, because I would never have met Ted, and he would have never, you know, I would never do any of this. These unraveling things, it's just crazy. I think I'm lucky, but I also know that I worked so hard in my school to be where I am right now. And it's not where I want to be right now. I mean, I want to be traveling the world, doing all this investigative animal reporting, or maybe just filming them, see how amazing they are and how to coexist with them and create awareness of them. That's what I want to do, and I'm not there yet. So that's the story I have. I hope you guys have learned something from it, and don't give up. I know it's hard. It's a really rough industry. I give you that. Please persevere, because we need a lot of more journalists. I hope your passion will guide you to wherever you need to be. I'm Caroline, and thank you so much for watching.